first story here is, well, by the time the papers went to press, it was 137 dead in Moscow, and I guess that figure may well be rising through the day. But they've got suspects in court. It looks like an Islamist thing. It's an awful, awful thing, Marina, isn't it?
Mm. It reminded me of the Bataclan,
Yeah,
the attack on the
Paris.
Bataclan, and it's just when it's attacks on unsuspecting people who are trying to have a nice time.
Yeah.
And the way
concert
venue, but also so they were shot at point blank range, but also it's very well planned because they also put fires near some of the emergency exits as well, which is why there were so many casualties. So it's absolutely just horrifying what's happened.
But it seems that the perpetrators have been captured, and you'd think if you were in this situation of doing this, you would not want to be captured at the end at all.
Yeah, and it sort of flies in the face of the sort of received culture of the suicide bomber who goes down as the martyr because of the greater cause that they're pursuing. And there are so many strands to this story. Does it make Putin look weaker because he can't protect his own people? He's tried to push the Ukraine narrative and point the finger that way. And as Marina said, there's nothing more benign than going to a concert. That's one of the great things that lifts the human spirit, just enjoying music and art and culture.
I did think at first because I think if Russia takes over Ukraine, they're going to have a problem with terrorism there for the next 100 years, there's no doubt.
At the very
and my
least.
my first thought was this is related to the war, and then pretty quickly it seemed that it really wasn't.
But they're trying to say that it was. So it sounds like Putin waited 24 hours before he actually addressed his people. And they're already trying to say there were Ukrainian traces. So I think the quote was, the Ukrainian military intelligence had recruited assailants who would look like ISIS, but this is no ISIS. And even though the US have said that actually, no, this is an ISIS thing, you've got someone else, again, another ministry spokesperson from Russia saying very snidely, I wish they could have solved the assassination of their own President Kennedy so quickly.
But this branch of ISIS-K, is known for having an agenda against European targets because of Russia's, invasion of Afghanistan. There's a whole feasible backstory to this. But ultimately,
Chechnya,
Putin,
I guess, has always been a sort of wound for people.
Yes.
Muslims who have a Russian connection.
Absolutely. But ultimately, I think Putin becomes more dangerous when he looks more vulnerable because of the egotistic nature of the despot, who clearly hasn't, been successful in this campaign against Ukraine.